Well, it's a beautiful day. The sun is directly in my eyes, which is why I'm wearing the sunglasses. I've wanted to tell my story for a very long time, but in reality I've just never summoned up the courage to do so. I have spoken about some of the issues which I'm going to discuss in this story, but I've never really addressed the underlying causes and discussed openly the full depth of my depression. Thankfully, I've had cycling to help me cope, and what I intend to do is tell my story through a series of vlogs while I'm cycling, but also go into detail about just what I deal with on a daily basis and how I cope with the depression. The depression started when I was a child. I was in the UK's care system way back in the 60s, and for anybody who knows anything about the care system back in those days, they will know that it was rife with abuse, both physical and sexual. And sadly, I and other members of my family were victims of that abuse. It had a huge impact on my life, and I'm not going to discuss it too much in this opening intro, but I will discuss it in the series. There's also going to be a lot of fun, not all darkness, because I'm going to be using cycling to tell the story. So there'll be various trips and events going on, and what I will do is I will intersperse those with anecdotes and tales of my background, my childhood, my teenage years, and how I've got to where I am today. But another huge impact on my life has been illness, and in particular cancer. It's taken loved ones from me, including my wife of more than 20 years, Caroline, my mother, my sister, and other members of my family. It's also something which I've been fighting for what seems like an eternity. I had my first childhood cancer when I was 15, well, just before I was 15, and ever since it's been a part of my life that I've simply had to try and cope with, deal with, and be strong through. To a certain extent I've managed that, but at what cost? The depression certainly is not just a result of the abuse I suffered, but also a result of the loss I suffered. Well, not just the loss, the many losses. And it's been particularly hard to cope with. There's hardly been a day goes by when I haven't had those really dark thoughts. Despite having two wonderful children, a loving family, sometimes what's known as the black dog can really take over, and all you want to do is stay in bed. I took a step back from my work doing video editing for the RGT cycling platform, partly because of my ongoing illness. I've had quite a lot of hospital time this last few weeks, and I've got another 2 visits in November which are pretty crucial. So I stood down because I was physically and emotionally exhausted. And cycling indoors as well is just not possible at this time either. I am cycling outdoors, mostly commuting with the girls, but I'm also going to pick up the outdoor riding, hence why I'm starting these vlogs, because I will be recording them. And I've always found cycling as a way of coping. Way back in 2012, when I was told my cancer had returned, I decided to set off and cycle around the world, and we beat it. So I'm going to return to cycling outdoors again, do a little bit of bike packing, a few day trips, maybe a few Audaxes, and just see where that leads me and how I can cope with that. And that's basically it, folks. I'm going to be doing these video logs of how I'm coping, not just with the depression but with the illness, how cycling helps me get through, and that's at the end of the day the title of this video series. How I cycle through depression. It's going to be tough, make no bones about it, it's going to be tough. But I've done it before, and I genuinely believe I can do it again. Okay, so outdoors now in the beautiful Netherlands. As you can see, the windmill behind me. Sun's coming down, it's directly in my eyes, which is why I'm wearing the glasses. But it's a beautiful spot, this, and it's one of the places that I keep returning to. And maybe as the snow starts to fall this winter, if we get some snow, that is, maybe I'll return here, because it is such a beautiful spot when the ground is crisp and crunchy with fresh snow. But I'll also be finding some other wonderful spots from around the Netherlands for you, and hopefully next year when we visit the UK, we're going back to Yorkshire to take the two girls, I can shoot some video there as well for you. So that's about all I've got for this intro. Please subscribe to the channel, please try and support me, because I think in this series I'm going to be able to help an awful lot of people. Depression is something which is not often talked about openly enough, and I'm certainly going to address it head on and not cut any corners. So subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot, folks. Take care, and this is me signing off.